Hello and welcome back to the Ascent Cycling Podcast for the preview of stage 17 of the Giro d'Italia, a stage between Canate and Sega di Ala, which could be potentially the new Queen stage of this Giro after the abysmal stage 16 we've had because we didn't really see it. But I am once again joined by my co-host, Mr. Joe Timms. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Guillaume. How are you?
Perfect. Thank you very much for asking. But yeah, as I said, we're going to do a preview just like we had done on the first rest day. We're going to do a preview of today's stage or tomorrow's stage, I say. As I said, Sega di Ala, a very tough climb with an average gradient of 10% for 11 kilometers. It's not exactly a very famous climb in Italy. The last time it was actually used on a race was on the Giro del Trentino, in 2013, and it has never seen the light of day on the Giro. So it could be a nice climb, potentially tougher than the Zoncolan for some. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it could be definitely more difficult than the side of the Zoncolan they went up this year. It's going to be such a difficult climb, but really, it's an interesting stage because starting in Canazei, like you say, there's no climbing really, but a short third category climb, which is 3K for around 150 kilometers. It's a really kind of gentle start, I guess, to the stage. I don't know if that's going to make it more difficult for the breakaway to get up the roads. There's some intermediate sprints there as well, so maybe a chance for Gaviria Chimolai to try and gain some points back on Peter Sagan right there as well, with little climbing to start. But then, of course, they do come to the Passo San Valentino, which is slightly longer than the Sega di Ala, which does follow, but it's not quite as steep. But yeah, it should be a very interesting build up to the Sega di Ala because unlike the Zoncolan, we have a major climb here where some differences could be made ahead of the even more punishing final climb. I mean, Guillaume, we've got the gradients right here. The Sega di Ala is a ridiculously difficult climb.
It is, and it's actually very surprising to see that such a tough climb has never been used before on the Giro d'Italia. As I said, it was used in 2013 on the Giro del Trentino, stage that had been won by Vincenzo Nibali ahead of Mauro Santabrogio and Przeslav Niemiec, famous for having Bradley Wiggins throwing his bike after a mechanical. I believe he came ninth in that stage. But yeah, it's a tough climb. The first 6 kilometers averaging 10% with some peaks at 16. And in the final 5 kilometers from kilometer 7 to 9 of the climbs, you've got an average of 12%. So that's going to be probably tough for most of the riders, a very leg sapping portion, a max of 17. However, the final 2 kilometers are easier. We've got a respite and we'll have an average of 5%. So if there is still someone with Egan Bernal at that point in the main group, maybe seeing an attack. But yeah, I think we're going to see some action in the first climb of the day, the Passo di San Valentino, because if you don't try there, I think we're going to end up in a very similar situation as the Zoncolan, with just Ineos taking the charge in Sega di Ala and just leading Bernal towards yet another either victory or another gain time-wise on the rest of the GC guys.
Yeah, I really hope there are some other teams that see the Passo San Valentino as a chance just to try something, shake it up, or even the descent of that climb. You know, it's quite a long descent and there is kind of a flat portion between the climbs. I think it's around 10 kilometers, not too long. But still, if you push on in that descent, I think you definitely have a chance of holding that into the Sega di Ala, and maybe Astana are a prime candidate for that, especially as Vlasov. He's lost a lot of time recently in the past few days. So I think that's a good opportunity for them. And I really hope maybe Ciccone and Trek try something on that first climb as well, just to try and shake things up. It's a risky move because if you burn all your matches ahead of the Sega di Ala, like you said, Guillaume, an average of 9.5% for over 11K, it will punish you, that's for sure. So it would be a risky move, but it could potentially be a fantastic move if you pull it off and have the legs to follow through on the Sega di Ala. But nonetheless, I think you said it could replace the Queen stage, and I definitely think it has that potential depending how it's ridden, because there's only 2 major climbs on the day, but they're so difficult and right at the end of the stage.
100%. And I think with the start of the stage, that in my opinion will be quite fast paced because it is a massive well, it's not a massive downhill, but for the first 90k it is mostly downhill, so we can see the peloton at a high rhythm, and we'll see if they can actually allow a breakaway to go at this point, because I feel like if you have a breakaway with a solid lead in I think I believe the intermediate sprint, the first one is in Trento, but I could be wrong with that, but if they have a decent lead comes the end of the first downhill portion, you could see a breakaway once again taking the win in Sega di Ala because I don't see Ineos chasing them down. However, if they struggle to get out due to the terrain, you may see some riders and some teams potentially aiming at a stage win. One team that directly comes to mind for me is the Conan Quickstep. They are known for just being stage win chasers, and they actually have not won on the Giro d'Italia since 2018. They have lost any GC hopes with Remco Evenepoel losing more than 24 minutes on Cortina d'Ampezzo. Joao Almeida is in P10. I believe they are one of the teams that could also try to do something to try and disrupt the hegemony of Team Ineos.
Yeah, and I wonder if Joao Almeida, he was allowed in the breakaway the other day, and he's now in the top 10, still 10 minutes down on Egan Bernal. I wonder if all the other GC teams will be happy with him to go in the early breakaway like he did on that stage. You know, he's getting closer to the likes of Vlasov, Simon Yates as well. He's only about 5 minutes off those guys now. So I wonder if everyone will be happy to see him go in the breakaway continually throughout this final week, because he's kind of ridden himself into a GC position. He could challenge for a top 10 or even push towards the top 5. Who knows how good his final week's going to be. So maybe that's an issue for them, but they definitely need to try and hunt a stage win here to Koenig. I'm not sure if Remco's, in fact, I don't think Remco's going to have the legs at all to win this stage. But De Koenig need to shake up their race. It's going to be difficult for them to do that, though.
I think Joao is going to try and attack. I don't think he'll be allowed to. Maybe James Knox could try and play his card for De Koenig. Other teams I could see probably being offensive. Trek, Mollema still looking for that stage win. You've got the likes of Brambia and Nibali as well that could help. Nibali looked decent in Cortina d'Ampezzo. You've also got Movistar, who had lost Marc Soler, Bora, who lost Buchmann, all of the teams that lost their GC leaders and aren't exactly in the battle anymore. That doesn't apply to Bahrain. But you could see once again Ayla Rubio in the break, Cataldo, Fabro, Großschartner, the riders that tried to go in the break 2 days ago, most likely will try and attack once again. And then potentially UAE. We saw that Davide Formolo had a tough Giro so far, but if he's got the legs, why not try to go in the breakaway with the likes of Dan Martin as well, the two main losers of Montalcino?
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. I mean, do you think the early breakaway is going to go to the line here? I thought they would have done on the stage 16. Obviously, that change was altered last minute, though. And I'm not sure if the parkour is really suited breakaway, because almost no climbing until the Passo San Valentino. I'm not sure how big a lead they're going to be able to get. And obviously, if some teams, EF, Astana, Ineos, if any of those guys try and light up on the Passo San Valentino and heading into the Sega di Ala, they could be doomed yet again. So I'm not sure if the breakaway have a chance here.
It's a tough one. It's a tough decision to take because I feel like, as you said, the profile doesn't really suit a breakaway. But I think that Astana probably learned their lesson with the stage of the Zoncolan, because if we take a look, the parkour is somewhat similar. Sure, I mean, the Zoncolan, the first 90k were flat here, they're in a downhill portion, but then you had a medium climb in the middle of the stage, and then the incline, the Zoncolan or the Sega di Ala. And I feel like when they paced in stage 14, was it? They couldn't exactly drop Ineos. We'll see how that happens. EF looked very good on Cortina d'Ampezzo and on the Passo Giao. So maybe they will try something. But I feel like the breakaway may have a chance, if I'm being honest. If they can have like 5-6 minutes at the end of the main downhill, then I think they can edge it.
Yeah, we'll see. I know you said that you don't think any more pelotons will win a stage at this race in the mountains. Obviously, Bernal did snatch that one on the altered stage 16, but I just can't call it. It's such a difficult one to say. I feel like if a big group goes and sticks together this time, unlike they did on stage 16, obviously it was over 20 riders at the front, and then they broke up. Just 6 riders, I think, went off the front there. And that probably hampered their chances quite a lot. If they had 20 riders all working quite well together, they probably had a better chance at the stage. But I think, if 20 riders or more can get off the front fairly early on that downhill portion, I can't really see Ineos pressing too hard until the Passo San Valentino, neither any other teams. And if they come into that climb, like you say, 6, 7, 8 minutes, maybe the stage will be theirs. Moving on
to the prediction part of this video. Quick recap of the scores. I'm still leading 2-1 compared to Mr. Joe over here. We haven't had the greatest of predictions, if we're going to be honest, right? We've had Got a couple of stinkers. I mean, we've only got 3 right out of 16 stages. Hopefully, we can make it 4. I mean, sorry. Hopefully, I can make it 4 comes the end of stage 17. Because winning at the Sega di Ala, I have a man who's already won there. Lo squalo Vincenzo Nibali will be taking the stage on stage 17. He's currently 20 minutes down. I feel like the Peloton will give him a decent gap. I think he's going to be in the breakaway with the likes of Brambilla, either Gebrek Zaber or Bauke Mollema, potentially a Jacopo Mosca, and I think he's not going to have to do anything until the downhill portion of the first cut. And then do what he does best, climb. Following him on the podium, in second place, I'm going to have a Kiwi who will once again lose to Trek Segafredo, George Bennett, to take second position. And in third place, I'm still not exactly confident about this pick, but I'm going to go Geoffrey Bouchard for third place.
I can't believe it. Mate, you realise this is 2021, not 2013, right?
Yep, it is. I know. I'm aware. I'm very much aware, yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I had no idea who you were going to say, and I did not expect that name. I can't lie to you. Maybe after I put you off Nibali, yes, on stage 16, you want to make up for that here.
Absolutely. I said he was going to win a stage. I said he was going to win Cortina d'Ampezzo. I didn't bet on him. I mean, I guess this is the chance for Vincenzo.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So for my pick, I mean, I've thought a little bit about it. I'm not exactly entirely sure how this stage is going to go, but looking back to that tour or the Giro del Trentino stage in 2013, there were over 2 minutes separating the top 10 on the stage. And I think 20th place was around 5 minutes behind Vincenzo Nibali. I feel like this Sega di Ala climb is brutal. There's going to be massive gaps here. And so I feel like I'm going to pick the best climber in the race. I'm going to go for Egan Bernal to win his second stage in a row at the Giro d'Italia in the pink jersey. He's going to be annoyed that no one saw exactly how he won that stage on stage 16. And he wants to prove again. He wants to put on another show and prove he's back. He wants to open up his lead in the GC. And I'm going to go Egan Bernal to win in pink in Sega di Ala. Second place, I shall go for Giulio Ciccone of Trek Segafredo. And third, I'll go for Damiano Caruso. I'm going for the Peloton, and I'm going for Bernal.
I mean, you've gone for the very easy pick, if we're being honest. I've gone for a bit more of a risky one, but I guess that's what you do when you're a winner. And like when you're behind, you probably go for the easy ones. But I could see it. I could see Bernal winning, and I think he's shown in Cortina d'Ampezzo that he had a lot of respect for that jersey, and he's not going to just stay in the peloton and do nothing. He's not going to stay idle, and I mean, you have to admire that from Eganito. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll see an attack from him. Hopefully, the breakaway has a decent enough lead to hold on to the comeback of the Maglia Rossa. Yeah, Vincenzo Nibali against Egan Bernal. I don't know if it's 2021 or 2013. All I know is that it's cycling. Hopefully, we'll have images for once.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can see the stage. I'd rather we see the stage and you get the pick. Honestly, and that is saying something because I'm getting pretty desperate in this prediction game of ours at this 2-1 deficit, as you can probably tell by my pick today. But yeah, so coming into the Sega di Ala, there's just over 11k to go. What time gap do you want for the breakaway over the Peloton? What is kind of the time gap you think they need to win the stage?
To win the stage? 6 minutes.
6 minutes. See, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
The climb is so difficult. I feel like, you know, if Bernal attacks there, he's going to gain minutes back very quickly on the breakaway. And even, you know, if Caruso goes as well, I think it'll be quite a fiery stage because stage 18 is slightly easier in the GC. There's no big mountains there. So I feel like they do have the chance to try some attacks again. The GC guys, they won't necessarily be thinking about the next day, even though we're now well into the third week of a Grand Tour. So yeah, it'll be an interesting stage. And I'm sure as long as we can see the images, Sega di Ala will put on a show.
They will. I think we may have a chance of seeing them. I've taken a look, at the weather, and we should have a weather around 10 degrees, which is basically a summer day for the riders on this Giro. No rain, which is something they probably haven't experienced yet. So technically, we should have images. Let's just hope that Rai doesn't fuck up again. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting stage. I said 6 minutes because I feel like, as I said, it's somewhat similar to the Zoncolan. And Fortunato won with 6.5 minutes. No offense to Lorenzo, but Vincenzo Nibali is, in my eyes, a better climber. And if Nibali is in the break, I feel like he might be able to lose less time on someone like Egan Bernal. But yeah, I'm going for a breakaway in 6 minutes at the bottom of the climb, and they'll win with like 1 minute 47 on Egan Bernal, who will once again gain time on his GC contenders, followed by Damiano Caruso and the man in form, Romain Bardet.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, make sure you drop likes, follows, good reviews, subscriptions as well, whichever platform you're listening on. Sega di Ala, as long as we can see it, it's going to be a brilliant stage of the Giro. I'm pretty sure of that. Guillaume, do you have any final words?
It's time for the shark.
Adios.